Welcome. Today we'll be talking about modules and imports in Python. Let's see how it compares to JavaScript. So in JavaScript, we're used to going import express from express to get the express module, for example. And in Python, it's kind of similar. If we want to get the math module, we go import math. Straightforward. So where does it start to differ? Well, in JavaScript, we can use npm install or yarn add to get a new package. But with Python, we just have to do pip install. Different command, different ecosystem, same basic concepts. So here's an example of installing NumPy, Lodash. This is our example with npm install. This is how Python would do it. So before you go and install any package, know that there's a safety concern when we install anything from a third-party source. Go to the package itself, verify that it has a strong community, and that the safety concerns you're looking for are addressed. So this is the same thing in JavaScript, Python, regardless of the language. Make sure that when you're importing things from the internet, which is so easy to do with a simple command, that you're safe about it by visiting the package's homepage first. Now, before we move on to 3 awesome examples that we have to verify third-party imports and cool functionality we'll be able to do with them, let's look at the last different variants in terms of syntax. So we're able to deconstruct imports this way, and Python can deconstruct them as well by basically saying, hey, from the math module, import the square root part of it. Python has aliases the way we do. When I say we, I mean JavaScript developers. As. Again, it's kind of flipped. And we can import everything the same way we do. All right, so let's get into it. The first example is we're gonna make a script that downloads the price of Bitcoin, really fetches the price of Bitcoin in real time. So if you have friends that love Bitcoin and you want to piss them off when it crashes, then you can text them when that happens, or vice versa. If you're really into it, you can check it all the time. Let's see how it happens. So this is the script right here. We're importing the packages. We have to first do a pip install. I already have it, but you can go ahead and do pip install pandas and requests. You can do it in one line, by the way, like this. I'll do it again. Let's do like that. In case that wasn't clear, one more time. All done. Okay, so running the script requires us to do a Python command and then the script name. Boom, there it is. Easy peasy. It'll be fun to watch this video later when the price changes. Let's look at the script just to understand the syntax since we're learning as we go. We are importing the packages. We're doing the GET request here to this address. We're converting the data to JSON. Out of our data object, we're extracting the BPI. That's the part of the data that we care about. And using a helper that comes from the library itself, we can get a table format, which we can console log. One more time. Price already changed. Cool. Okay, let's move on to our next example. Here we're going to teach you how to scrape a site from the internet. We're going to use a safe example, an example that wants us to scrape. So this quotes to scrape.com site wants people to scrape their quotes. Let's see how it happens. Again, we import the request module, which you can see is a popular one. And then we import Beautiful Soup. Now this is interesting because we need to do this command. We need to install Beautiful Soup 4 and request for that to happen. But what's weird is that we then have this BS4 object. But remember what I said. From this, we import the BS4, which is a common practice in Python. Okay, so assuming we have this installed, we can look at how it works. We make the GET request, parse the content, the HTML. We store it in soup. Find every instance that has a div and a class of quote. And for each of those, loop them, get the text by finding the class text, get the author by finding the class author, and do this interpolated string, print them out like this. Let's see if that works. Hey, there's your quotes. Pretty awesome. Now, our third example is completely wild, very different. We're going to use some machine learning. We're not going to be making it, but we're going to be accessing the libraries that we need to get to make it happen. So let's see it. Let's see it in action. In this last example, we're going to be talking about NLTK. Look this up. And the Vader lexicon. NLTK, let's get a primer. So natural language processing, we're going to figure out if a particular phrase that we pass it as a string is positive, negative, or somewhere in between. Look how simple this is to run. Once we import it, again, similar syntax, and once we have it and download the Vader lexicon, which is the particular, part of the library that we need to do this analysis. Oops. We can have a string like this and console log what the sentiment is to see if it's happy or sad. So you can see how this can be applicable if you're making a robot and the client is talking to the robot and the robot has to understand not only what they said, but if they're happy or sad based on how they said it. So let's try it out. There it is. Negative score, 0. It's mostly positive, and it seems to be some neutral. Now that's kind of strange because I said this is the greatest day of my life, but let's experiment. I hate this so much. I mean, I really hate it. Now that has a negative score. No positive score. Play around with this. In general, play around with all of the functionality that the Python modules can offer. It's a never-ending world. It's why I find it so fascinating. Keep going this journey with me. We're going to learn a ton.